Imagine walking into a typical motorcycle dealership in the US. You're expecting to see the usual names Harley, Yamaha, maybe a Suzuki. But right there in the lineup, something unfamiliar catches your eye. A Moto Morini, a CF Moto, a Benelli. The bikes look sharp. Full LED lighting, digital displays, aggressive styling, and then you see the price tag. It's thousands less than what you'd expect. That's when the question hits you. If they look this good and cost this little, what's the catch? Over the past 2 years, something big has been happening under the radar. Chinese motorcycle brands have been creeping into the American market quietly, but steadily, they're showing up in more showrooms, getting real. Reviews from real riders and racking up views online. They're not just cheap, they're compelling. But even with the sleek designs and feature-packed spec sheets, there's hesitation in the air. It's subtle, almost instinctive, a tension that whispers, can I really trust this bike? See, American riders haven't forgotten the early days, those first waves of Chinese imports that often looked decent on the outside, but fell apart under pressure. Poor build quality, parts that broke after a few months, no support network. It left a scar dot, so now, even as these new models boast ABS TFT displays, USD forks and styling that rivals European machines, that old doubt lingers. Are these bikes truly better now? Or are we looking at the same old problems wrapped in a fancier? Shell, sales are going up. Interest is growing. People are talking. But there's still one question that sticks harder than the rest. Would you trust your life to a Chinese motorcycle? Flying down an American highway at 70 miles an hour? That's the question we're chasing. And the answer might not be what you expect. Asterisk, asterisk. It didn't happen overnight. The rise of Chinese motorcycles in the US has been building quietly, strategically. These brands didn't just show up with flashy designs. They came in with a plan. CF Moto is a prime example. A few years ago, barely anyone in the US had heard of them. Today, they have a growing network of dealerships across the country and a lineup of bikes that look like they were built to compete directly with Kawasaki and KTM. And it's no coincidence. CF Moto actually has a long-standing partnership with KTM. Some of their engines are directly based on KTM's proven designs. That detail alone changes the conversation. Then there's Moto Morini. The name sounds Italian, and it is. But the modern Moto Morini is backed by Chinese investment, built in China and sold with a European vibe. Think Ducati looks at half the price. The X-Cape 650, for instance, has been making waves for its premium styling and approachable price point. Benelli? Same story. The brand is Italian by heritage, but fully owned by Qianjiang, a massive Chinese manufacturing group. The result? Bikes like the TRK 502 that look like adventure machines straight from Europe, yet cost less than entry-level Japanese models. And it's not just the price. These bikes come loaded with features: dual disc brakes, inverted forks, digital clusters, and bold styling that stands out in any parking lot. For the average American rider, the message is clear. You don't have to spend $12,000 to ride something that looks and feels premium. But here's where things get complicated. Because when something sounds too good to be true, we start looking for the catch. Asterisk at first glance, it feels like a dream deal. You're getting a motorcycle that looks sharp, comes packed with features, and costs way less than the competition. Riders who've taken the leap are saying surprisingly good things. Take the CF Moto 650MT, for example. Owners talk about the smooth ride, the upright and comfortable seating position, the surprisingly agile handling. It's got power, balance, and modern touches like a full-color TFT screen. The suspension feels stable, even on rougher road stock. Then there's the Moto Morini X-Cape 650, a bike that turns heads wherever it goes. It looks like a high-end European adventure machine, and when people hear it costs under $8,000, their eyebrows go up. Add in dual disc brakes, inverted forks, and a slick, aggressive design. And it's easy to see why these bikes are getting attention. But for every praise-filled review, there's a pause. A hesitation dot because behind the features and the flash, there are real concerns. One of the biggest is after-sales support. Yes, Chinese brands are expanding their dealer networks, but they're still limited compared to giants like Honda or Yamaha. In many parts of the country, you might have to drive hours just to find a service center dot. Then there's the issue of parts availability. Technically, parts exist, but getting them quickly? That's another story. Some riders report waiting weeks or even months for replacements or repairs. And let's not ignore resale value. These bikes don't yet have a strong resale history in the US. There's no telling how they'll hold value 2, 3, or 5 years down the road. That uncertainty can be a deal breaker for a lot of riders. There are also scattered reports of inconsistent quality loose bolts, minor electrical quirks, cosmetic wear. Nothing catastrophic, but enough to make someone think twice before committing dot. So we're left in this strange space. The specs are great, the prices are amazing, but something doesn't quite feel solid, and it begs the question, is the risk worth the reward? Or are we just holding on to outdated fears that no longer apply? Asterisk that question, whether it's worth the risk, starts to take shape when you compare these bikes directly with the competition. Let's take the CFM OTO 650MT and stack it against a proven rival like the Kawasaki Versys 650. On paper, they're remarkably close. Both are twin-cylinder adventure tourers. Both have upright riding positions, windshields, ABS, and similar weight. But then comes the price tag. CFM OTO comes in almost $3,000 cheaper, and that's without skimping on features. In fact, CF Moto includes gear like handguards and a center stand as standard, while you pay extra for that on most other bikes. And it doesn't stop there. The Moto Morini X-Cape 650 goes up against the Suzuki V-Strom 650, another long time favorite among adventure riders. The X-Cape boasts aggressive styling, a wide TFT display, Brembo brakes, and a riding feel that surprises even experienced riders. Meanwhile, the V-Strom plays its usual hand. Rock-solid reliability, a proven engine, and a comfort-first setup dot. So, how do you choose? If you're going by pure specs, it's hard to deny the value Chinese bikes bring. They offer modern looks, competitive components, and surprising performance for the price. But specs don't tell the whole story. What the Japanese and European brands still own without question is trust. Generations of riders have logged hundreds of thousands of miles on Hondas, Yamahas, Suzukis, BMWs. That reputation isn't built overnight. It's earned through decades of consistent performance. That's the edge the Chinese brands are still chasing. Not in numbers, but in confidence. Confidence that when you hit the ignition before sunrise, the bike will start. That when you're 300 miles from home, you're not riding with doubt in the back of your mind. Which leads us to the final question, not about engines or price tags, but about something more personal. Are these bikes finally good enough to earn your trust? Asterisk, here's the truth. Chinese motorcycles have come a long way. They're no longer the shaky, questionable machines they once were. Today, they offer real performance, modern design, and features that rival some of the best names in the business. And they do it at a price that's hard to ignore. If you're a new rider, someone on a budget, or just curious about trying something different, these bikes can absolutely be the right choice. They're fun, stylish, and surprisingly capable. For local commutes, weekend rides, or light touring, they deliver serious value, but they're not for everyone. If you're the kind of rider who values long-term reliability above all else, if you plan on riding cross-country and need parts and service anywhere, anytime, or if resale value is a big deal to you, then a more established brand might still be the safer bet. It's not about saying one is better than the other. It's about knowing who you are as a rider. Because at the end of the day, a motorcycle isn't just a machine. It's a relationship. And trust real trust takes time to build dots. So, would you trust your life to a Chinese motorcycle cruising at 70 on an American highway? Maybe you already do. Maybe you're thinking about it. Or maybe you're still not convinced. Whatever the case, one thing's clear. The game has changed. And it's only getting more interesting from here. Now it's your turn. Drop your thoughts. In the comments, have you ridden one? Would you? What's holding you back? Or what won you over? Let's talk.